Yeah, then because the syllabus is aiming, focusing on transport organization itself. If you're working in transport organization one day, you should be able to excel on what is actually human resource all about. Yeah. Actually, the human resource function is uh, more on day-to-day activities related to human, other than you as operation managers or supervisors there. And then one more function, maybe you appointed to be one of the admin or HR manager in organization. Regardless, you have degree in transport logistic, but maybe they got vacancy also. You can apply a bit because this one is of the extension, yeah, extensions of your knowledge while you study this human resource function in from the human resource departments at the school. Yeah, the only thing that I am going to focus this more on transport industry. Okay, the thing is very simple. Yeah, only thing that you have to orang kata understand lah on what actually the function all about, so that you can excel lah when people give you this the job one day. You should be able to do your job with a proper manner. Actually, human resource and admin are actually in the same department. Normally, we call it in transport and logistics, human resource and admin department. Same function. Human resource got one manager and admin got one assistant manager. I mean, human resource better, bigger than admin. Yeah, they are actually working together in one office. Yeah, and then sharing the staff, and then day-to-day activities actually monitoring the admin matter lah. Yeah, admin and HR matter in that particular organization. Why slow? Very slow today. Okay. Okay, sorry for that, yeah. Because we have not network problem here, Sungai Tani, so I got problem this one. Okay, you're talking about human resource management in transport industry, yeah. One day maybe you are actually working in transport industry, and then your boss maybe assign you to be one of the assigned human resource executive or supervisors or managers one day, yeah. And then you're not supposed to be handicapped on this thing, because your knowledge you keep from UM. And also I going to explain for the second time, while you're working, for your future knowledge in transport industry, yeah. And then normally human resource in transport industry is normally combined to admin, treasury department. Yeah, they are going to into one department lah. Yeah, and then headed by human resource manager, and then you are maybe assistant lah, human resource admin. Yeah, Uh, that means human resource and admin executive. For example, there. Yeah, they are not alone. Human resource saja kan. Under than human resource, we have another right hand is human resource executive. This is your, it's actually your function lah. Yeah? It's not that difficult because you are actually referring to human day-to-day monitoring the humans, regardless they got trade or non-trades. Yeah? Because when you're working in transport industry, normally we have trades. Yeah? Trade ni kalau ada driver trade, kita ada technical trade, kita ada yard trade, warehousing trade, all these things, with different background and so on and so forth. And if you're working in fleet management or operation management, you only handle on people who are actually with uh, driving trades, drivers. Drivers, 90% is drivers lah. The rest is admin lah, yeah. Uh, So they got the different function. The only thing we are actually monitoring different trades to do all functions regarding the human resource and staff from top until bottom lah, yeah, for top CEO and then senior managers and then until laborers lah, yeah, that particular organization. These are the things that we need to look into it. And then please take note that when you go to the industry, maybe got vacant in admin or HR department, you apply. Uh, Actually, you are an handicap on that and joining the HR in transport organization. Yeah. By right, HR manager should be from HR department lah, HR qualification. But you are actually not handicapped because why? It's not very difficult. And then through my experience in transport industry, also I'm working also this. I work in this department before, yeah, doing HR. Regardless, I have as my qualification is degree in transport. No problem, we can do it. And then part of it, and when they have the qualified person to join in, then you assign to transport again, just provide temporarily. And at the same time, we cannot say no lah, yeah. We cannot say no, and then we have to excel the best knowledge that you have, what you learn from university or school, then you equip lah, yeah. So from time to time, you have to read more lah, yeah. Ask more people regarding this, in order for you to excel your work at that particular organization. Okay. All right. Still got network problem lah. I don't know. Still got network problem. Okay, from the book you can refer to Yeah, from the book, Silimoli. Oh, tak ada lah dalam buku ya. Maybe I wrote in chapter 19, in chapter 19, but it's not in the books. And chapter 19, human resource management. Yeah. But I noticed that this one is not in your textbooks. But never mind, this one is just only extraordinary knowledge, yeah, for you to understand in order for you to excel one day. All right. Can see or not this one, the slide?
Cannot, doctor, only blank white.
Huh?
Cannot.
Cannot see, yeah?
Cannot.
Yeah, I got no network problem here. I don't know. Still not responding. Still not responding. Okay, I think can. This one, okay. Okay, we have 5 objective here in human resource. Yeah, can hear or not? Can, yeah. Objective number 1, dia kata to explain the function or the processes of human resource, yeah, and administrations in transport organizations. Yeah, that means human resource and HR and admin are actually working together, yeah, under one organization. They can call admin department, they can call also HR department, all actually working under one department lah. Maybe you are headed by one HR and then you are actually assist HR, which is you are actually doing admin work, admin job, yeah. So actually, what job are actually related to HR and admin? Yeah, after this, going to explain to you. Yeah, number 1, number 2, to explain the importance of HR transport organization. If there is no HR, you're not functioning well. Kalau smaller company also need to have HR lah, because they want to monitor day-to-day activities, especially their payroll, their pay, their wages, their insurance, yeah, their uniform, yeah. their engagement with outside people, with local council, department, government officers, and so on and so forth. And so forth, they are actually function of human resource and admin. Yeah, right. Number three, discuss important what knowledge management. Yeah, knowledge management mean that you are actually exposing, developing knowledge to your staff at one particular organization. And then the most important thing that you have to understand all various field, regardless you are working in transport industry, but you have to understand the function of warehouseman, the function of yard management, the function of fleet management, operation management, marketing, yeah, and so on. It's not all, but at least you know to know at least the basic thing, in order for them to attend anything that went wrong to that particular organization under your department, you should be able to handle well, yeah. This is the most important. And then number four is to understand the importance of training and developments. This one is important. This one is your task lah, actually. Actually, your task is to promote people in terms of their knowledge. As I said just now, you are actually engaging with that people who are actually in trade, yeah, the trade drivers, trade mechanic, trade warehouse, trade yards, and so on with different type of trades. Yeah. So you have to orang kata expose them to the various training, for example, the local, the present, the current training that you have outside there. Yeah. So you have to send them, yeah, for the training from time to time to develop. Regardless, they got the paper qualification. For example, become the mechanic, they have to have at least grades third stage in mechanic ataupun diploma. Before diploma, you got certificate level 3. So mechanic. So in order for them to achieve or good in terms of quality of work, you have to send them for training. Yeah, the training. And then the various, for example, executive and so on, you have to send lah. Maybe written, spoken, communication, and so on. And this one is your job actually in HR department, yeah. And then for information that any course or training offered by outside people actually paid by our company. And normally our company, your company is actually engaged with Human Resource Development Fund, and then this time we have to subscribe to them. 1% of out of total income. 1% of our total income to be distributed to HR, Human Resource Development Fund for the purpose of training for your staff. So from time to time, we have to schedule them to do the training. Yeah, please take note that whatever training is very important, but to consider the day-to-day activities in that particular organization should be orang kata avoid to be the disruption lah, yeah. So on and off lah. Each one, for example, you have 10 mechanic. You want to send at least one, yeah. Next month, one. You cannot send all, because day-to-day operation have to take into consideration without disruption, yeah. And then number two, other trade also lah, officers, yeah. So you have to orang kata schedule them for them to have at least they are working in transport organization. For example, the morality taken off by organization. That one is most important thing. Yeah. So by the time that you work there, and then you got experience, and then you got knowledge, you got training, right? And then you improve your trade. Yeah. For example, downline. Yeah, or non-executive can improve their trade and so on. Whereas at the same time, when you want to jump to another places, they got experience already. Can so at least this one is consider contribution lah, your contribution to your staff in order to develop them to be orang kata good experience and also with the proper qualifications and latest development in that particular industry. Okay. What else? Function. Function. Yeah. In HR, we have four functions actually. Yeah. Number one is considered strategic business partner. That's why in working in the HR department, we have this automatically you are actually in management posts, post management, yeah. That means every time meeting, your CEO will call you, where is HR, where is HR, where is HR. HR is the main important person, even though they are working under CEO or senior manager, but HR function is the most important because your CEO may be asking what is the problem at current requirement regarding pay, wages, insurance, uniform, rates, qualifications, and so on and so forth. So you are part of the strategic partner, business partner in that particular organization. This one is very important. Number two is a change agent. Change agent that you are actually talking about latest development on what actually have in current organization. For example, outside, they're doing this improvement, ISO, yeah, change agent. And then maybe you want to have at least new or motto on that particular organization, agents, yeah? And then you need to develop skill, change agent, yeah. You need to develop skill, for example, yeah. You need to develop what actually knowledge, new knowledge, yeah, regarding the trade, for example, change, yeah, change agent. And then this one is your function. And then number three is employees champion. So anything problem regarding your employees, you supposed to handle it. For example, sick, hospitalized, insurance, working time, uniform, trade unions. You have to engage with unions. They got two. Our driver, we have union trades. Union trade, they got union, headed by one of the uh, those days during my time, Zainal Rampak is a lawyer there. They need to pay fees for 1 month to ringgit to the trades. And then the trades union will fight with you regarding what improvement, increasing this annual increment, uniform, and then working hours and so on. You are actually not working direct to your staff, but you also working towards their unions. Union is very powerful. They can ask you to resign. They also can. Very powerful because they got the trade union. Yeah, this one is smart. Very worried lah. Actually, in working in transport industry because they are actually engaging or engaged with trades, union trades. They got president there. Yeah, outside the organization. This one need to be very careful, this one, because the president is actually lawyer qualified. So they can fight everything. And then our driver can straight away, for example, report to them what's his problem at present moment. And then normally we have once a year meeting with trade union. And then inside the organization also, they got the trade union reps. Yeah? So normally quarterly we have meeting with them regarding the problem and so on. This one is indirect meeting, for example. Direct meeting, day-to-day activity that you have to lah. So we have to orang kata deal with them. Daily, if anything problem, normal problem, annual leave pay, wages, or uniform, whatever we can handle that thing, that one is your function as human resource lah and admin. And then number four, as I said earlier, is administrator. Administration is office requirement lah. For example, you need your stationery, typewriter, computers, handphone, desk, table, chair, requirement, repair, maintenance of that particular building, telecommunication, and so on and so forth. This is also part of your function in HR and admin department. Okay, faham tu? Normally you study this in HR department ni kan, school. And then the rest of key function of HR, dia kata dia ada hiring. Hiring ni macam kita ambil orang lah, recruiting, recruitment and so on. Make sure that you recruit right person, right time, right qualification, right. You cannot say that you got friend there, the qualification take into that position, cannot. This one is contradict to the orang kata ni lah, kita punya law lah. So whatever thing that you want to take driver, for example, make sure they got driver, they got several characteristics. Yeah, they got must have T, They need to have at least bersendi, and then you have to experience at least 4 years, 5 years in transport industries, and then working wise, all these things, able to work at night, and so on and so forth. All these things are things, and then you have to do the testing on that, whether they can drive or not, let somebody follow them, for example. These are the things that need to be done. Whatever other portion also, you have to understand that qualification is the most important, and some your CEO maybe experience the one is value add lah on that. Yeah, make sure that you want to recruit people right time, right place, like qualification. Yeah, and then because in the ISO we have audits, audit on qualification wise, make sure that you are actually appointed with the right position, right place. So without complaint lah, from the others. Yeah. Okay. All right. Number one, number two, compensation. Compensation is regarding your insurance, for example. Anything went wrong, for example, you met an accident, broken leg, uh, whether your staff covered insurance. That one insurance in a particular organization is very important. Normally, we are actually purchasing or have group insurance. Yeah, group insurance. Automatically, when you met an accident, something wrong to your body and so on, so claim straight away claims. Or you ram into third party vehicle or property and so on, we have general insurance covered our organization. This is your function actually to ensure that at any one time your company is covered by the insurance, especially your staff. Yeah, yeah. And then number three, evaluation, performance. The one is your task. Because year to year, we have annual improvement, annual performance in order for you to maintain the standard of working. Yeah. Maybe they are actually put a cutoff below 18 and cannot get increment, for example, to stay lah. You need to have at least 18 and above in order for you to have increment. Yeah. And at the same time, working in transport industry, normally end year, we have bonuses, and then based on the mark that given by the head of department, so you are actually monitoring. They got several head there, are given several mark, and then the most important thing in the organization at the end of the day, we have bonus, and then bonus based on the performance lah, if you have or receive 90%, okay, it's considered full mark. Between 97 to 100, for example, full mark. That one is stage one, priority one. Within 90 to 95, priority two. 89, 85 to 90, priority three, and so on. Which one is got priority one? And then by the time for you to receive the bonus based on that. That one is normally people do when they are actually deciding the final say, amount of the amount, based on the performance. Macam tu lah. Okay. And then number four is promotion. Promotion is your task actually, whether they are qualified to become from supervisor to executive officer, for example. Promotion or not, maybe got 3 or 4 years experience. Okay, promoted to become executive. After executive, after another 4 or 5 years, okay, assistant manager. And then after 5 years, a manager, and so on and so forth. This is your role. Based on the record performance that it makes, and the quality of work that normally people done during their services or experience in that particular organization. Because HR is the most people who are actually eyeing that people. You are actually monitoring, maintain the record, keep well the record tracking, and so on and so forth. If anything that asking, people ask you from the top there regarding this person, whether they qualify, you are actually responsible to explain to them. One is human resource, in terms of promotion. And then the promotion got the various categories set by the organization. You are actually set the thing to be officers like this qualification, your qualification like this, your experience like this, your scheme of work like this, and then your style of working and everything like this. Internal promotion, you have to monitor. It's not easily that you can promote them. Even that one is your kata friend and so on, cannot easily because they are actually follow the step various steps taken, monitoring by other party also recommended by the various department and so on, and then you are actually qualified. And then the final say is you and your manager, your bosses. Yeah, okay, this one can be promoted from clerk to senior clerk, from senior clerk to supervisors, supervisors to officers, officers to executive, executive, and so on and so forth. Yeah. All right, regarding the promotion. Yeah, in the promotion in that particular organization, they got their own technique how to skill them. Yeah, skill one, skill two, and then they had to characteristic lah. In order for them to go further without complaint lah. Uh, and then HR and human resource department is to avoid further complaint in future when you do thing not well. So it's therefore from the beginning part of it, you have to be able to make a thorough, uh, make a checking, thorough, asking people and so on to avoid future. When you appointed them, that means you hope that there is no question asked at the end of that particular day. Kalau orang tanya lagi nanti, masalah lah kita kan, malulah dia orang kan, why this one not qualified to be promoted, because in the beginning part of it, you have to explain, you have to do a thorough checking and ask some to do all those things to make sure that you are actually doing things better and better. Okay. And then number four, they kata managing relationship lah between you, your staff, relations with outside world, with the parent, with the present government, for example, local council, yeah, you are actually the one lah. You make advertisement, you make the promotion activities, for example, marketing and so on. Even though that marketing is not your job, but you are actually part of the function of them. Because when you engage with public, for example, outside world, you are actually champion on that because you got authority and then the budget you have set up and then you got staff also working day to day, working together with other department as well. Jadi you are the thing that people are very important that particular organization so that you have to do it. Yeah. And then number five is number six. Yeah. Number six is planning. Planning is perancangan. For example, in transport organization, especially in human resource and admin, you have planning on 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years time, mainly on human resource requirement. Human resource requirement, person recruiting how many, budget whether you have or not, whether we have the capability to pay our staff or not. All those things are actually planning done by human resource manager or departments. Yeah. So you one of the most important thing with a good or bad that particular organization based on your human resource duties. If you are actually good, that particular organization must be good. That means to not so many people resign, for example, not too many people to be terminated because of it. Because you are actually explaining that once, good thing, because you have extra knowledge on that. This one is the term and conditions supposed to be followed and so on. So at the same time that you have to follow that requirement as the human resource standard as stated in labor law. For example, when you are talking about labor, 1951 Law Act. So you have to master on that lah. And then this also to have to avoid people complain, your staff complain when you make a wrong dismissal, for example. You terminated people easily like that, terminated cannot. They got the processes, the procedure that you're supposed to understand. We need to have at least investigation, issue warning letter, 1, 2, 3, further immigration, and then we terminate them. They got the processes. And then when, for example, a wrongful dismissal, they also dissatisfied your staff, they can go to IR, industrial Industrial Relations Office. That one is IR is owned by the government lah. That one is actually different function lah. Eh, to help uh, victim lah on the wrongful dismissal, for example. Yeah. Yang ni selalu kita pergilah. Sometimes they go to our office. Why? Why you terminate them? For what? So you have to to us. Maybe they asking you the processes and procedure lah. Yeah. So hang again. Any questions so far? Okay, good. Yeah, no question. Good. Now hang again lah. Yeah, hang again. I don't know why. Okay, next. Still hanging like this. If okay, no problem. Okay. I just explain to you. Just listen lah. Whether you can see or not after this because of the network problem. This one, the purpose is to have extraordinary knowledge on human resource and admin function. And then the rest of the thing, whatever I have written here in my notes. Yeah. Actually, the human resource function is actually you are actually working under your under the CEO. That one is based on what actually we have. In the bigger organization, normally we have senior manager in human resource. Or you working in hotel, you have director in human resource. Hotel director, they call it human resource. Actually, day-to-day function is actually dealing with people, normally recruiting, yeah. And then you get this term and condition for people who are actually working that electricity and job description, for example, give the job, and then pay wise, insurance, and then annual leave, promotional activities at the same time, and then you actually helps the organization to grow. It's not even though you are actually not a section business unit, you are not making business on that, but actually you are actually helping other department also, operation department, food department, your warehouse, and so on, who are actually making money, right? You are doing admin work and day-to-day activities. It's actually dealing with people, and you are actually part of the champion, the staff, and so on and so forth. And then at the same time, when you're dealing with outside person, dealing with government department outside, you are actually the main person. For example, you are actually doing thing, you want to report with human resource department outside. So you are actually the function there. In the industrial relation, legislation ataupun trade unions, you are actually the main people who are actually engaged to them. You should be able to qualify, and then you should be able to explain your knowledge as a resource manager in order for them, in order for you to be equipped prior going for the meeting. This one is very important. Jadi cara turunnya human resource manager is very important that particular relation. So promise me I'm going to give this slide because this one is not written in the book. I'm going to give you slide. And then at the present moment, I'm try my level best to zip your all your chapters under one zip, one file, and then send you uh, maybe letters before next week lah. I think that's it. Because at the present moment, I'm quite busy on that present situation in the organization. And then, so by sending this one, I'm sure that you can give you some good thing lah, for you to prepare before going to the ovulation proper. Okay, what else? So still hanging because got network problem here in Sungai Petani. So I hope that what else? It's not here lah in the book. Not here in the book. Never mind.
Doctor, sorry, doctor, we cannot hear you.
Okay, can hear or not? Can. Now can.
Yes,
Now
doctor,
can.
now can. Now can.
Now can. Okay, I got problem in the slide, yeah, because of the network problem. I hope that I can explain it, lah, yeah. From we have 30 slide altogether, yeah. We have 30 slide, but it cannot be seen here, yeah. It cannot be seen, yeah. Cannot be seen. Never mind. So I'm going to explain it one by one through this one. You just listen. I open up my my slide here, but I cannot show you lah. Just for the purpose of explanation. You can read here. Yeah, wait for a while. Yeah. Can listen or not? Can, yeah. Can.
Boleh, doctor, can.
Okay, boleh ya. Okay. Okay, you just listen. Yeah, I read through the slide here. Okay, slide selection to the most important thing in the selection. You have to determine the level of skill, technical abilities, competency, flexibility, or employees required. Okay, and then uh, and then you have to consider both internal and external factors can have impact on the recruitment. That's why I told you when you recruit people, you cannot simply recruit, yeah, based on the qualifications and their experience. Yeah? And then you have to have face to face, or now online also can. And then you have to test them, yeah, before you take into it. Yeah? Test them. You doing a test, for example, on give assignment, knowledge on business and so on. Maybe test them, and then it's not straight away that you can apply and then can recruit them. Most important. And then this is in order for you to make them to work for longer period of time. You just simply this one not suitable, you can terminate them or cannot, yeah. So once you recruit, you are responsible on that. Even they got lack of knowledge, you have to. That's why when you recruit people, make sure that they have enough knowledge, qualification, proper qualification. For those who are actually fresh graduate, maybe fresh is okay, no problem. And then you are actually working, and then your responsibility as human resource manager is to train them from time to time. Okay. Number one. Number three is you have to know the current market in labor. Yeah, for example, skill, educations, government investment into industries, and so on, and government requirement and so on. This one is most important. Yeah, what skill that you want? Working in transport organization. What people that you want? Which skill? Yeah, which qualifications? Yeah. As I said just now, driver qualification with driving license, mesti ada bekerja, mesti ada bersendi and so on. Need to have this containerized vehicle or cargo vehicle and so on. And sometimes different. You're working in cargo, and then you convert to containerized, different, yeah, the environment and so on. So from time to time, before you take in straight away to your organization, you need to have at least a test by your senior person. Yeah, I'll test this one first whether they can perform or not. You cannot simply take them to recruit them to work under your organization. Even though it take longer period of time, but at the end you have a good in terms of result, yeah, performance and so on. Good lah kan. Uh, on the other hand, internal influence is easier to control, predict, and monitor. Example, management style or even the organization culture. So again, to explain the organization culture is culture, working culture lah. For example, working culture in that company A is like this, working culture. We have rest, we have other prayers, yeah, we have uniform, and then we have to communicate with people. Working culture lah kan, easy. And then we have happy hour, for example. Culture working that particular in order to promote internally, morally, so on. Culture lah. So when you people to come in, so have to follow the culture that already practiced by the organization. And normally the culture is managed by your CEO lah. Once you like this, you have to follow the culture. Boss is always right. You just follow them culture, what you want to do. All right. So HRM in business practice, number one purpose is to achieve the organizational goal. Goal ni dia ada organization. For example, you want to achieve 10 million target in this year. So you are actually not dealing with business, right? Actually, HR dealing is supporting operation department, marketing, warehousing, yard management. You are actually dealing day-to-day business. You are supporting, and then your mission, actually you are actually in line with your CEO to achieve organization goal. For example, 10 million a year. So you have to achieve lah. So you have to work in hand with other department as well. Number one. Number two, in business practice is workforce planning. Just now you say planning, yeah, planning for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depend on the capacity of our organization. If you have 100 vehicle at one time, for example, 100 to 100 staff is enough for day. Because driver normally can assign one vehicle to drivers, right? And then the rest of the staff, maybe 30% of them. So all these things make sure that the revenue can cover the whole operation and plus profit, all those things. Sound is planning. It's not simply recruit people, because when you recruit people, is involve cost, yeah, the most important, and involve your responsibility is the most. And then sometimes people over staff, so waste lah your time to make sure that when you recruit people, make sure you have to plan properly. Your staff can generate how much money revenue, okay? How much they can help us to grow our company, for example, make the company growing, by engaging or staffing these people, or recruiting these people, all those things. It's not just simply recruit, and then at last you cannot pay the money, the salary, the overtime, and so on, and then you terminate them. When you terminate, please make sure it's not simply terminate, yeah, because the staff can engage to other department as well. Government department, make a report and so on. Sometimes you fault, your organization fault, you have to pay the fine, million of dollars, for example. These are actually uh, the thing that you have to consider, yeah, in human resource function. And then number three, the kata induction and or retention is normally your responsibility lah. Normally new recruit or staff in the organization, you have to orientate them. Ah, you have to do your induction courses for 1 or 2 weeks and so on to make sure they are actually considered staff, new staff, to make sure they are actually safe in work, orientations. The term and condition required by organizations you have to explain, yeah, in this induction and orientation program. Okay. Okay, number three, dia kata skill management, training development is your responsibility also. Just now I said, we have budget on education, budget on the training and so on, under Human Resource Development Fund, HRDF, which is we can send, it's not all people send kan, through the stages and schedule. Need not to interrupt the organization operation as a whole. Yeah. And then number five is personal administration. Just now, macam gaji, your role, payroll, yeah, wages, overtime, yeah. And then the stationery required, office requirement, telecommunication, and so on. It's not only belong to the office, but the staff, yeah, involved that. And then you should be able to, budget themselves. It's not simply buy a handphone and give someone. Budget, when you buy handphone, how much? 1,000, for example. Monthly usage, how much? You have to have limit, for example. And then the whole are actually holding the handphone, how much it actually cost in telecommunication cost. Each one is your responsibility. It's not simply buy and give them, because anything that you give involve cost. The most important, yeah, this is the most important thing, that if a goods HR manager, you should be able to control them, to control the budget, money, to make sure that they are from time to time, end of the year, you can know this one after cost everything, they are actually net profit how much. Kalau kita overspend, there is no profit at all. This one is your responsibility. Yeah. And then the overall revenue in that particular organization is based on your admin cost. You are actually controlling to make sure that we have enough profit in terms of profit. Yeah. You also control it. Yeah. Instead of operation development control that thing, you are actually the main players to control them, regarding the cost and benefit at the ends of the financial periods. And then which therefore in end of month we had a meeting on profit and loss, profit and loss account. And then it's going to be explained by the account department. You should be able to have your costs regarding the admin cost there stated there, whether you want to increase, reduce, and so on. And then if you want to increase, based on what reason, based on what thing, requirement, and so on. It's not simply a spend without unnecessary. That one waste, if waste, they will cost you at the end of the day your profit. And then the last one is compensation and wage and salary. Wages lah, all wages, including your salary, overtime, medical benefit, insurance, your staff, employees, and dependent, and so on. and then maybe you have to have at least extra ordinary package to them during school, opening school, for example, you buy uniform to the children and so on. It's based on what profit that you might raise by that person that you already recruit. If good, business good, you got term of profit very good. Why not? We get to spend some thing to their dependent, for example, children, buy the book, buy the school bag, uniform, and so on. All the needy people lah. Yeah, compensation lah. And then, for example, you want to have at least compensation to have at least no, bonus, yeah, bonus every year based on the performance that normally you receive as suggested by their head of department. You review the thing, this one you're getting about 4 month bonus, 3.5 month, 2 month. It's not similar. It's not say across the board, no, yeah. In transport organization, sometimes got 1 month, sometimes got 2 month, 2 month plus, 3 month, 4 month. If running at loss, maybe token only lah, half month. So if profit, normally people give you bonus lah. Yeah, based on the performance. Okay, next dia kata you are actually deal with two different world. Yeah, in in transport organization, two different world. Why? Number one, you are different. You are dealing in that particular organization. One. Number two, you are dealing with unionists, union, trade unions, trade unions. Trade union is very difficult for you to deal because the head of the trade union is outside people. If you deal inside the people, reps trade union easy, but you deal with the chief outside the organization is very difficult because they are actually based on suggestion by the driver, for example, to get extra incentive benefit, which is cost organization. Sometimes you can accept or not. Sometimes can accept, sometimes not. You can accept why. So all these things have to explain to them to make they understand. But driver itself, they want it. For example, uniform to be, at least 2 times a year to be changed. For example, to have allocation and so on. And sometimes we can't afford because to spend uniform also cost a big money on that, yeah. So normally they deal with union lah, trade union, KL there. Kalau katakan that particular organization there is no unions, okay. You should be able to go and deal them. But normally in transport industry, we have trade unions. Yeah, we have right internal, and we have this their president outside, outside the organization, paid by trade union itself, not paid by the organization. Okay, three major trends should be considered, yeah, in human resource, especially during the recruitment time. You're recruiting somebody to work into a particular organization, you should consider this. Demographic that people locally. For example, you stay in Bukit Kayitang and Changlun, yeah, so you have to study the local requirement there, whether got people or not, yeah. And then you have to consider the populations, workforce, for example, age, gender, social cost, pension, offering, insurance package, and so on. And then normally kalau you buat kat jauh-jauh outside from the town and so on, to meet the local people, and then based on the local requirement like this lah. Like this, skill also important, qualification also important, but the number of people maybe chip in is very rare. Kan? So you have to find outside lah, outside outskirt, Bukit Kaitam and so on, Chanuk, Cintok and so on, to find the good people and whether they can work in or not. Can work in, so you have to have at least extraordinary preparation for them. For example, we have asrama, for example, what them contemporary, in order to recruit them. Yeah, asrama for 1 year, you work there and live there, bachelor's, and so on and so forth. It is part of the commitment made, normally by the organization to ensure that to encourage people to work under organization. But if you work under industrial zone, which is normally that the population scattered just around the industrial zone, it's not very difficult to have people, yeah, because they can work in day-to-day activities in and out, go back home and so on. You have less burden on that, yeah. So whatever thing you have to think about cost and benefit lah, cost and benefit regarding that. Uh, Demographic is the most challenging lah. That's during the recruiting lah. And sometimes I'm here from situ, I'm very difficult to work in Kuala Lumpur because got no house, no accommodation, right? And then got no net, have to invest more. If I got about 3,000 also, I can go home. Unless you got house there, your parent there, right? You can stay properly, kan? You can promote. Yeah. So you have to take into consideration. But if you don't take this, maybe 1 or 2 month time they can work, and then they resign. Not good lah. Very good in term of orang kata keluar masuk is very difficult lah. It costly also lah. Turnover very high. Turnover mean bukan turnover revenue that you're going to have, yeah, tapi turnover of people in and out very high also not good that particular organization. Make sure that when you select people, they can work for the longer period of time, at least 5 years, 10 years. So you can plan lah, yeah. Alright. Diversity ataupun diversified, I mean promotion organization are made up female employees. Puan ada masalah sikit, kalau ambil puan in transport organization. But you have to, dia ada ratio for person, female maybe 25%, male 85%, all those things ratio and so on. That's why in transport industries, female they are the less. Tapi you have to take also, kan, the population there female more now, but only take 25% because most of the people are men. But orang kata can be female now, female can be driver of prime mover. Can see the market now? Ada kan? Female driver. Ada? Why not? You take the risk. Okay, female driver also similar like men. Can do trucking. They can do bus transport, drivers. Yeah. They can do a locomotive. Yeah. Female. Whether they can train, they train and then they qualify. Yeah. Also can recruit. And then they got target there. Human power. Ataupun woman power nowadays kan. They can skylift also they can operate. Why not? Driver. Kan? But normally we have men lah, yeah. But they got target by minister at least 30% must female. So you have to take responsibility lah in order to maintain your government order. You have to take this 30% out of government requirement female. So regardless, people working as a drivers or non-drivers, class supervisors, managers, up to you, yeah, to think about it whether they can perform or not. No problem, yeah. And then kalau ada female pula, dia ada discrimination, sexual harassment. So you have to have at least, yeah, human resource. Got law there, yeah, sexual harassment. So you should be able to tackle them proper. They got the process and procedures, yeah. And then that's why during when you join the industry, that people give you orientation on what actually do and don'ts, for you to follow in order to avoid or to mitigate this problem for a longer period of time. Okay, sexual harassment and so on and so forth, yeah, all those things, yeah, discrimination, female and so on. So for the female workers, you have to challenge lah with them. You have to work as far as male punya jobs, yeah, you can do. Why not? Only thing that you female. And then number 3, dia kata skill and qualification, the most important. Tadi dah beritahu kan, skill, qualification must be in hand, in line with the job that already offered beforehand. Depend on the market and regulation need lah. Yeah. Okay, what else? Other than thing, we have the workforce planning, recruitment, induction, skill management, tadi training and development, personal administration, job, yeah, HR job, compensation, salary, wages, time management. Time management is time, working time and so on. Make sure that you are actually things that need to be done. Whether you are working in one shift, second shift, third shift, there are Actually, in transport organization, we are actually working 24 hours around the clock. So as a human resource manager, you should plan from 7 to 11, one shift, 12 to 18 hours, one shift, and so on. So all those things around the clock. So you should monitor 24 hours monitoring as required by the organization. Maybe you are working daytime, 8 to 5, for example, and then rest assist by your assistant, for example, second shift, third shift, and so on. At one particular time, there must be human resource monitor lah, day-to-day activities. Even though they are actually controlling by their respective department, but our human resource department also playing the important role. As I said just now, as we agreed, we have in line with organization's requirement, objective, and so on to achieve 11 million for that particular day. So you are actually now from the admin side, you have to indirectly monitor lah, the activities. So that you are not lost. Yeah. Okay, travel management, for example, is part of your control. Payroll is still part of control. Employees benefit administration also part of control. Cost planning, performance appraisal every year is your control. This one is the few thing that you need to consider on that. Yeah. All right. Knowledge management, the last knowledge management, that thing that knowledge lah, pengetahuan, pengurusan pengetahuan, anything that latest development on what's happened outside the world lah, we call it knowledge management. Knowledge management is not only your knowledge that you have in that particular organization, but we want people to know what is actually we have outside the world, outside the organization. For example, competitions. For example, our competitor doing this. Knowledge lah. So we had to explain in order for you to grow together with your organization. You have to explain them. Our company is not benefited well. We are doing loss this month. Knowledge management. So our strategy is to improve from time to time regarding the skill, regarding the improvement of your work today. Make sure that you have to achieve the target. Our management already work hand in hand now, work round the clock to improve the marketing. For example, you have to share to them, to your personnel and so on, to make sure that they are actually know what it's all about. Knowledge management. And then you had to work together, work as a team. Okay, our competitor doing like this, they are doing well. They are doing well in terms of profit, business, and so on. So we have to make similar or more than that. So all those things, these are the things that need to be done. So you had to wake up early, you had to make a prudent job and so on. Make sure that you have to be efficient enough. Yeah, instead of 2 3, you make 3 3, 4 3, and so on. As at the same time, you are actually helping. It's not only you help yourself, but you are actually helping to organization to grow. You cakap macam tu. All these things, knowledge lah. Okay, knowledge management. Competence. Competent mean that you are actually doing competent thing. Competent got two things. Number one, qualification. Number two is your experience. And then with your competency, that means you can train other people. That means you are competent enough. Kalau you ada qualification, tapi you tak ada experience, you belum boleh katakan competent. They both two in one, qualification and your experience. And then you can explain to other people. You become guru. That means you are actually competent. Kalau kata competent kan. Okay, last one before we end. In one particular organization, normally human resource function, as a closing, human resource manager are responsible on planning, recruiting, skill, training and development, personal development, payroll benefits, and also at present. These were actually the main functions of human resource manager or administrative executive in one particular organization in transport uh, in organizing in transport office. Yeah. So I think that's all for today, lah. Yeah. I hope that through this knowledge, I'm going to give you upon ready, yeah, 1 or 2 weeks time regarding the slide, which is not listed in the book. Yeah. Inshallah, by next series, we need to have at least extra this in the chapter, so your brother can have this temporary. You can use my chapter, but I hope that this chapter ataupun human resource slide doesn't come up in the final examination. Just your extraordinary knowledge that's supposed to equip you before you're going to job proper one day. That means it's not that easy to work as human resource here because you need to have at least your knowledge also, and then you have to adapt yourself, asking your seniors, asking the other various parties outside the organization in order to fit. And the most orang kata difficult part in human resource department because you not engage with the people inside. So people got so many things there, yeah. So many people involved, so many voice lah, so many faces there, and then so many problem internally. But you have to have at least engage with outside world, especially the government office, industrial relations, trade unions, Ministry of Human Resource, law, labor law and regulation. You have to adapt in, and then you have to understand it. So it's therefore from time to time, human resource management manager need to be trained also for the latest skill, knowledge development in order for them to make current requirement by particular organization in transport in order for them to be competent enough from time to time. Normally, human resource department, they are actually stay put there lah for longer period of time lah because got no place to go. Once you appoint at the human resource department, human resource executive, for example, you stay there for the longer period of time. And then very convenient there because you are controlling things, kan? But normally in operation department, operation executive, as you want to be one day, they can jump from place to another. You think that one is not good, that company, you can jump. That one easy for you to jump, to get good promotion, good offer outside. Kalau human resource ni, dia still put lah human resource. And normally lah, during my time there, human resource can stay longer period of time. Tapi kalau operation tu, kejap lompat. They jump from place to other company. This can receive best offer to them. Maybe good also. There is nobody can stop you from jumping from place to another. Good for you in future promotion. If you stay that take longer period of time for you to get promotion, why not you jump to other places that which is suitable for you to work, and then convenient. Uh, Actually more on the wages lah offer to you. Kalau kawan tempat lama gaji you 4,000, maybe if you jump other places, gaji you 5,500, 6,000. So these are the things that normally we have normal in transport organization. They keep on jumping from place to another. It's normal. Okay, class, enough. Sorry for the delay, for the interruption just now because of the network problem, yeah. Because the network problem. So I think I cover all lah. Whatever thing I skip is not important. Think that the purpose is to explain you regarding the function. Maybe you are actually working in transport industry. Some other you working in transport as a chief in operation, or you working in transport as chief of HR. You also can work because I experienced before, yeah, in HR, in admin, in operation, engineering, warehouse, yard management, yeah, forwarding agents, kita ada forwarding in transport. So we are actually working in hand and we have several knowledge during my 13 years in transport organization this day. Okay, class, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, for those unable to scan your attendance, split put manually ya. Jangan WhatsApp. Okay, bye-bye.